What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Justin Gaethje will accept challenge at UFC 313. Justin Gaethje might have been on the wrong end of a highlight reel KO when Max Holloway pointed at the center of the octagon and challenged him to stand and bang. But that doesn't mean that the highlight's going to shy away from a challenge if Fiziev points to the center of the octagon on Saturday. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. During his Fight Week media scrum on Wednesday, Gaethje told media members that if someone points to the center of the octagon and challenges him to stand and bang, he'll accept the challenge every time.
If you've ever seen me fight, you'll know I will accept that challenge every single time. When he pointed to the ground, I said yes and ran to the middle. So absolutely.
Ahead of Saturday's rematch, Fiziev also spoke about the fight with media members on Wednesday, reflecting on their first fight. First fight, I'm going for the war, but he going for the win. If he go like that, it's make me more happy. While Gaethje is coming off a loss to Max Holloway, he's still ranked number 3 at 155, and because of that, he's optimistic that with a win on Saturday, he could wind up being right back in title contention. As an athlete competing here, I have to think that. I hope for that, but I have no idea. I have to go in there and I have to win. That's first and foremost. I'm always exciting, the most consistent guy that stepped in there. I think the way that I win and how my fights usually go, I think I'll definitely be in consideration for it. With both guys looking to pick up a win, the stakes couldn't be higher. Michael Chandler called out for cheating again. Let's just say it hasn't been a good week for Michael Chandler and his fans. From being called out by Dustin Poirier last week to now Justin Gaethje taking shots during media day, it seems like the UFC roster is coming after Chandler. If you don't remember, we recently reported Dustin Poirier calling out Michael Chandler for cheating during their UFC fight. Dustin also called out Chandler for having a fake personality behind the scenes when appearing on the Out of Pocket podcast. Now, Justin Gaethje is also taking shots at Chandler during UFC 313 media day, calling him out for his dirty tactics during fights.
We fight in open finger gloves. Like there's no preventing eye pokes in here. At the end of the day, I think it's blatant fouls. Like hitting people, a lot of Michael Chandler, pretty much everything he does, immediate point taken away. Smoking people in the back of the head. There's things that you can do on purpose, and then there's eye pokes. Like I said, it's almost impossible to purposely poke someone in the eye. That's a very small target, and we're trying to hit each other in the head, and a lot of the times that's hard to do. So.
On the topic of Justin Gaethje, Renato Moicano broke silence on why he didn't accept the fight at UFC 313 when Dan Hooker pulled out. Here's what Moicano said during his Show Me the Money podcast.
Just to clarify, people were saying that I ran from the fight, but to be honest, UFC messaged me and I said, hey, I am 190. We can do a catch weight, but they didn't want a catch weight, so It is what it is. Just that. And I think Gaethje will. I think so.
Yeah,
I think Gaethje will beat Fiziev. But that's a very competitive fight, and that's a very good fight to watch again.
Israel Adesanya predicts Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. Heading into this weekend's Pereira-Ankalaev fight, Israel Adesanya shared his official prediction for the fight, predicting that Alex Pereira will not only get the job done, he'll even finish Ankalaev in the later rounds. During a Fight Week video shared on his Freestyle Bender channel, Izzy cited Pereira's momentum and his recovery as two reasons that he feels like Poatan will wind up getting the win this weekend.
Regardless, I'm going to go Pereira because momentum. He's just on a tear right now. Pereira got rocked by Roundtree. Well, he was able to recover very well. I said that as well. In New York, I remember I said Pereira, his recovery, that's one thing that's really good. Not just cardiovascularly, but just energetically, spiritually. Like he's able to just recover really well. But Ankalaev, speed, he'll have to catch Alex. But I just think this is going to go leg kicks, leg kicks, leg kicks, left hook. Alex Pereira. Bye. I'm gonna go KO. It's just gonna knock him out in the 4th or 5th round.
Considering Ankalaev has made it clear that he plans to utilize his grappling on Saturday night, this fight may wind up playing out like a classic stylistic battle between a grappler and a striker, with Ankalaev trying to take the fight to the ground and Pereira trying to keep things standing. Dana White gives positive update on Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Recently, Tom Aspinall said that the only thing holding up a fight between him and Jon Jones is the heavyweight champion. Between the fact that Jones fought Stipe Miocic once he was healthy, and the fact that there's been no real news regarding a title unification fight, fans aren't sold on the fight actually happening. During an appearance on the Jim Rome show this week, however, Dana White gave an update on the Jones-Aspinall fight, saying that although nothing is set in stone, he's hopeful that the two throw down this year. The plan is to fight Jon this summer. Obviously, when, where, and all that stuff is being determined. My goal this year is to make that fight with Aspinall. Between Dana giving an optimistic update on the fight during his appearance on the Jim Rome show, and the fact that he had expressed optimism over the fight during a separate appearance on First Take, Ariel Helwani asked Malki Kawa for an update during his appearance on the Ariel Helwani show. Kawa played coy regarding a potential fight this summer, directing Helwani to his brother for more information. Maybe, I don't know. You gotta talk to Abraham about that one. I think it depends on certain things and whether or not everybody wants to make those certain things happen. And if the answer to everybody else is yes, those certain things happen, then yes, the fight will happen. I'll just leave it at that. If this fight does happen, it seems poised to go down as the biggest fight in heavyweight history. On the topic of Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, Dana White was interviewed by Jim Rome last night and revealed that if Alex Pereira wins at UFC 313, he can fight the winner of Jones versus Aspinall.
He wants to. Well, I'll have to, let's see how this fight plays out, if he wins, how he wins, and all that kind of stuff. But the fight that everybody wants to see right now is Jones and Aspinall. And then there's no doubt that Pereira could fight the winner.
Update on Ilia Topuria's next UFC fight. Since Ilia Topuria announced that he'd be making the jump up to 155, there's been no real news as to when the former featherweight champion will make his lightweight debut. While he has his sights set on a title fight, there's no telling what the UFC has in mind, with Ariel Helwani theorizing that everything will hinge on whether Belal Muhammad loses to Jack Della Maddalena, which would open the door to Islam Makhachev moving up to 170. The longtime MMA insider had Topuria's manager Malki Kawa on the Ariel Helwani show on Wednesday to discuss Topuria's move up to 155. Ilia Topuria is looking at longevity. He's looking at the fact that it's almost a 50-pound cut every time. It's time to move up to 155. I'm confident that Islam will accept it. I'm confident that we'll be fighting for that belt, but it's really not on us. We don't just jump from here to there without having the conversations in certain things. No one has said that you're not fighting for the title. Kawa also said that Topuria's team would not have followed through with the move up to 155 without having discussions with the UFC. Throughout those conversations, Kawa said that the UFC has not shut the door on a potential title fight, and from his perspective, he doesn't think it makes much sense for the UFC to have Topuria compete in a non-title fight. No one told us that we couldn't fight for the title. I'll leave it there. No one has told me no, this is not happening. In the meantime, Topuria is keeping busy and was recently included in Disney's trailer for Daredevil, with the trailer telling fans to stay tuned. Magomed Ankalaev sends a warning to Alex Pereira for comments. After getting called out by Alex Pereira for not fasting during fight week and using Ramadan as an excuse, Magomed Ankalaev has fired back at the champion. During his fight week media scrum on Wednesday, Ankalaev fired back at the champ, sending him a warning ahead of Saturday's fight while making it clear that by taking verbal shots at him, he's making things worse for himself. He's obviously really worried about me and what I'm doing. He seems to be nervous, so he's following all these things. He seems to be way too concerned with that. Ankalaev also confirmed that he isn't following a strict fast throughout fight week, despite the fight being in the middle of Ramadan. I've been following the fast strictly except for this week, where I will have to break it a few times because I need to make sure I drink water to have a successful weight cut. But apart from that, I started with Ramadan. I've been fasting, and after the fight, I will obviously also follow the rules of religion as it has to be. Ankalaev also weighed in on his game plan for fight night after going back and forth on whether or not he plans to use his grappling. We'll come out there in the stand-up, and then we'll see what happens. I don't know how many rounds it'll go, but from the very first round, I will try to find a finish. While Ankalaev has no shortage of confidence heading into this weekend's card, he's up against one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. The way Dana White sees things, with the win on Saturday, Pereira could become the pound-for-pound king. During an appearance on First Take, he weighed in on the pound-for-pound rankings. He's one of the biggest stars in the sport right now, if not the biggest star in the sport. What makes this weekend so great is Ankalaev is a very serious threat to him. It's probably the toughest fight he's ever had. His team always talks about his takedown defense and that the fans don't really know how good it is. We're going to find out how good it is this weekend. This is a tough fight for Alex. Alex comes out of this the way he's come out of every other fight. He might be the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. While it took a while for the fight to get booked, according to Pereira, he wanted to fight Ankalaev at UFC 305. But the UFC shut down the idea, citing a lack of hype for Ankalaev. This weekend, however, the two will finally have a chance to settle things inside the octagon. King Green opens up about Paddy Pimblett loss. Heading into King Green's upcoming fight with Mauricio Ruffy on this weekend's Pereira Ankalaev card, the fan favorite spoke candidly with media members about what went wrong the last time he was in the octagon. During his media day scrum on Wednesday, Green talked about the mistake he made, which led to the first round triangle choke, calling the loss a blooper that was caused by the baddie kicking his leg out from under him.
A mistake I made and just slept on a banana peel, and it is what it is. I ain't gonna lie, bro, I'm gonna keep real with you. hurt real bad. And I have to go all the way over his pond and deal with all the craziness, you know? I did it all and I put it all on the line. And sometimes you go for the best and sometimes you fall a little short, you know?
Although Green said that it felt like he lost the Super Bowl, he took a page out of Max Holloway's book, saying that at the end of the day, it is what it is. This weekend, when he and Ruffy share the octagon, he'll be looking to get back in the win column while also proving that he's still a step ahead of the next generation of lightweights. Dana White provides more information on Boxing League. This week, what was once called Zuffa Boxing finally became a reality, with the UFC and TKO locking in a partnership with Turki Al-Sheikh for an all-new boxing league. While it was initially reported that the new endeavor would not cost the UFC or TKO anything, details have been scarce beyond the fact that the promotion is already well into the planning stages on their first few events. During a joint appearance on the Pat McAfee show this week, Dana and Turki teased an event in September. We actually are getting together with him tomorrow. We're going to shoot some content. We have a massive fight, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. A massive fight that only this guy could make happen. This man right here is the only guy that can make a fight like this happen. Turki then jumped in, teasing a September 12th date for the first event. Although plenty of UFC fighters have wanted to make the jump to boxing, Dana has no plans of having fighters cross over despite the new endeavor.
No, never. I'm sure there are guys that want to box, but I literally don't want to see any of that. We'll keep the boxers in the boxing and the MMA guys in the MMA, but...
The way Alex Pereira sees things, however, the new venture opens the door to a potential boxing match with Alexander Usyk, who threw out the idea of a boxing match against Pereira last month. The Mac Life's Oscar Willis quoted Pereira as saying, "I was so hyped and happy when I heard the news. Who knows? Alexander Usyk, September, Saudi Arabia, Shama." Whether the UFC makes an exception for Pereira, only time will tell. Dana White fires fighter from the UFC. After 4 consecutive losses and most recently knocked out by Cody Brundage this past weekend at UFC Vegas 103, Julian Marquez was released by the UFC. And before we continue, we have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day. His record was 3-5 in the UFC since his debut in 2017, after losing his last 3 fights by knockout or TKO. He needed a win badly this past weekend to keep his spot on the roster, but unfortunately, he was knocked out in the first round. Marquez is only 34, so his time in MMA might not be over yet, but his 8-year run in the UFC sure is. We can always thank Julian for the historic moment of fumbling Miley Cyrus. If you don't remember, he asked Miley Cyrus to be his Valentine in 2021 during a post-fight interview with ESPN, and she saw the clip and responded with, "Shave an MC into your chest hair and I am yours. Happy V-Day and congrats, my love." To which Julian Marquez posted the biggest fumble ever in MMA history, responding with, "Miley Cyrus, if you get a henna tattoo that says Cuban Missile Crisis above your belly button like Tupac, I'm in. #ThugLife."